Pain is an unwanted but inevitable visitor. It knocks on the door at the most unexpected moments and often feels unbearable. But what if, instead of running away, you could use it as a springboard for growth? The problem is not pain itself, but how you respond to it. Some people become prisoners of suffering, while others find in it the strength to transform their own stories. In this text, we will explore how pain, failure, and adversity can be used to your advantage. You will understand why most people sabotage themselves, how to escape mental prisons, and how emotional intelligence can be your greatest ally. The choice is yours: remain trapped in suffering, or use it as fuel for your mental and emotional freedom. Life is a contract where both success and failure are inevitable clauses. There are no guarantees, no shortcuts. Those who seek absolute security end up imprisoning themselves in the fear of trying. Pain is part of this agreement, and as uncomfortable as it may be, it is what drives growth. Without challenges, there is no evolution. Without falls, there is no learning. The problem is that many see failure as a final verdict when, in reality, it is just a page in the book. The greatest winners were once great losers who decided to keep playing. Life does not reward those who hide from the battle, but those who learn to dance in the storm. After all, the real risk is not in trying, but in living without ever stepping forward. Many people believe success arrives in spring, but the truth is that it begins to be built in winter. In times of scarcity and adversity, when everything seems stagnant, roots grow stronger. Nature teaches us before flowers come the cold, before the harvest, the soil must withstand storms. The problem is that most people give up during life's winter, failing to see that it is just a cycle. Those who understand this metaphor stop fighting against difficult phases and start using them as preparation. If today it feels like nothing is working out, maybe you are just in winter and it won't last forever. What you do now determines what will bloom later. The choice is yours: lament the cold or prepare for spring. Many people live imprisoned in invisible cages created by their own thoughts. They believe they are not good enough, that they will always fail, that they do not deserve success. These mental shackles are built from criticism, trauma, and comparisons, and without realizing it, a person becomes a hostage to their own mind. The more these limiting beliefs are fed, the harder it is to escape. A lack of emotional management is the main cause of this imprisonment. When we do not control our thoughts, they control us. If you feel trapped in a cycle of anxiety, self-sabotage, and insecurity, know that the key to this prison is in your hands. But breaking free takes effort. You must reprogram your mind, challenge old beliefs, and understand that you are capable of much more than you imagine. Pain is a relentless but essential teacher. Running from it is like trying to escape your own shadow. Impossible. Every adversity carries a lesson, and those who learn to listen to it grow stronger. The problem is that many see pain as an enemy when, in reality, it can be the lever for growth. If used wisely, it transforms into motivation, into fuel for great changes. The biggest mistake is trying to numb it with distractions, addictions, or excuses. This does not eliminate pain, it only prolongs suffering. Those who flee discomfort do not grow, they merely postpone the inevitable. The secret is to face pain head-on, understanding that, just like a wound, it hurts today to heal tomorrow. The choice is between carrying it as a burden or using it as a springboard. Fear and anxiety are natural mechanisms, but when unchecked, they become mental traps. The predator-prey syndrome explains why many people feel paralyzed in the face of challenges. The brain interprets change as a threat. Whether it's a test, a diet, or a relationship, the instinct is to flee or self-sabotage to avoid the risk of pain. But this escape only prolongs suffering. The key to breaking this cycle is shifting your mindset. The problem is not fear itself, but how you react to it. Instead of seeing challenges as predators, view them as opportunities for growth. Every great achievement requires discomfort. If you do not challenge yourself, you remain in the prey position, a hostage to your own insecurities. So the question is, do you want to be hunted by your fears or learn to hunt them? The cycle of self-sabotage is treacherous. It all starts with motivation and good intentions, But along the way, immediate pleasure becomes irresistible. The diet starts off well until a tough day justifies it just this once. The project is exciting at first, but any obstacle becomes an excuse to quit. The problem is not the failure itself, but the guilt that follows, reinforcing the belief that the person will never be able to change. This sense of failure fuels a destructive loop. Guilt weakens self-confidence, insecurity leads to more sabotage, and the cycle repeats. The way out: small, sustainable commitments. Instead of focusing on drastic changes, work on consistency. Mistakes happen, but dwelling on guilt only delays progress. The secret is not to be perfect, but to be persistent. Relationships deteriorate when flaws are seen through a magnifying glass, but qualities are viewed from a distance. Often, criticism is given with the intention of helping, but without empathy, it becomes a weapon that wounds rather than builds. When a relationship is reduced to demands and judgments, it weakens. Every connection needs recognition. Without it, even the strongest feelings become fragile. The key is balance. Criticizing is easy, but praising requires awareness. Instead of pointing out only mistakes, appreciate the successes. Small gestures of gratitude and admiration do more for a relationship than 1,000 demands. After all, no one wants to live in an environment where they are only remembered for what they do wrong. Want to strengthen your bonds? Trade the magnifying glass of criticism for the mirror of recognition. From an early age, we learn math, science, history. But who teaches us how to deal with our emotions? Most people grow up with no preparation to handle anger, frustration, or anxiety. The result: adults who do not know how to deal with criticism, who feel trapped by their own emotions, and who repeat destructive patterns in their relationships. Our mind is like a house without locks. Any negative emotion can invade and cause damage. Without emotional education, we live at the mercy of circumstances, reacting without control. But there is a solution. Just as we train the body, we can train the mind. Books, therapy, and self-awareness are essential tools for developing this skill. After all, intelligence without emotional control is like a powerful car without brakes. Many believe that emotional intelligence means never feeling anger, sadness, or fear. But the truth is, emotions are not intelligent, they are instinctive. The problem is not in what we feel, but in how we handle it. Without emotional management, we become prisoners of impulses, reacting without thinking and accumulating regrets. To succeed in life, it is not enough to feel. You must take command. The difference between failure and success often lies in emotional control. A negative comment can ruin the day of someone who has not learned to manage their reactions. Likewise, a challenge can be seen as an obstacle or an opportunity, depending on how it is internally processed. Those who lead their emotions lead their lives. Otherwise, they will always be a passenger in their own destiny. Self-control does not mean repressing emotions, but learning to use them to your advantage. Those who act impulsively spend their lives fixing problems that could have been avoided. But those who develop mental freedom are not swayed by the heat of the moment. They know when to speak, when to act, and most importantly, when to wait. In the end, those who control their minds are not slaves to circumstances or others' opinions. True freedom begins within. When we free ourselves from limiting beliefs, fear of judgment, and the need for approval, we truly start living. The world may try to impose rules, but a disciplined mind does not bend easily. Want to own your destiny? Then learn to master the only territory. No one can invade your own mind.